Ideally, you have one-day voting, but I just want voter ID as a start, and I want the water to be released, and they're going to get a lot of help from the U.S. I want two things. I want voter ID for the people of California, and they all want it. Right now, you don't have voter ID. People want to have voter identification.
Coming up, we've got Trump playing disaster relief roulette, Kimmel serving up more burns than a California wildfire, and a political roast hotter than the flames Trump's supposed to be helping put out. We'll break down Trump's fishy excuses, Kimmel's savage comebacks, and why threatening disaster victims is definitely not in the How to President handbook. Trust me, you don't want to miss this dumpster fire of a situation.
The president reiterated what he wants California to do, meet certain conditions before they can get federal aid, but not necessarily strings relating to the environment, relating to water, relating to fire safety, relating to a political demand.
Of course not. This has never been something that has been politicized in this way. And look, we should point out by saying this is something that simply is not likely to happen.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. A novel theory regarding the origin of these destructive fires has been proposed by President Trump, who considers himself to be our resident expert on everything. You should be ready for this, right? According to his theory, this is due to the fact that there is not enough water for fish. Actually, you did hear it correctly. In spite of the fact that California is on fire, it appears that those shrewd little swimmers are effectively storing all of the water.
They say it's an endangered species. Well, how is it endangered? No wonder it's endangered. It's not getting any water. How do you, if you have a fish and you're stopping the water, I don't think we should give California anything until they let water flow down into their...
It's from the north to the south.
This is a political thing. I don't know what it is. You know, they talk about the Delta smelt. It's a little tiny fish like this.
He is so ridiculous, and we have to sit around with the place on fire hoping he gives us our own money back. Trump and his minions are planning to leverage any federal aid.
But there is no need to be concerned because Trump has a solution that is as simple as his language. Let the water flow freely, all you people. Firefighters have been attempting to put out fires for a considerable amount of time using only their own saliva and possibly a few drops of kafef. This is because it is obvious that they have been doing this. Would you like to analyze this illogical line of reasoning? The President of the United States appears to be under the impression that endangered species are luxuriating in luxurious river mansions and drinking water cocktails while Californians watch their homes burn to the ground. During the time that the rest of the state is on fire, he appears to be under the impression that a covert organization of Delta smelt fish is holding wild pool parties. The environmental expertise of our leader, who is orange-colored, is as profound as a puddle in Death Valley could possibly be. In essence, what he is saying is, let's flush out Nemo in order to save the forests. Just because, well, that makes complete and utter sense. Forests don't really need anything, including water, to survive. Without a doubt, they are not bothered by a small amount of Diet Coke mist.
We had some new wildfires popping up last night. One big one, which is very LA. We've already moved on to a younger, hotter fire. Tomorrow, President Trump is visiting LA. He's coming to LA. Well, he's here to blame us for the fires in person here in the room. But we didn't know he would be so terrible that he would actually threaten to not help us in an emergency situation if he doesn't get what he wants.
The comedian Jimmy Kimmel, who is always on the lookout for a good joke, referred to Trump's fish theory as what it actually is, a bunch of carp. Are you aware of what he caused? There appears to be an entire school of fish puns that Kimmel is prepared to unleash on Trump's irrational reasoning. There is, however, more to come. At this point, the irritable Trumpy is not yet finished with fire. A magician performing at a birthday party would be impressed by the number of brilliant ideas he has. Rather than pulling rabbits out of hats, he is the one who is pulling nonsense out of thin air. The approach that President Trump is taking to the wildfire crisis in California is about as helpful as bringing a squirt gun to a fire that has 5 alarms. It would appear that he is under the impression that the state has been withholding information about a hidden waterfall in order to meet with his approval as president. Go ahead, California, he says, just barely audible. Let your hidden Niagara loose. Those annoying fish won't know what hit them. Go ahead, California. Now, everyone, let's talk about the disaster relief proposal that Trump has proposed. At the same time that a young child is attempting to negotiate bedtime, he is playing with the lives of other people rather than requesting 5 more minutes. The brilliant plan that our favorite orange turd has devised is that California will not receive any assistance unless they follow his instructions to the letter. The Trump approach to disaster relief. You scratch my back, I might consider not letting you burn. Isn't he a very kind person overall? The disgruntled president is treating the assistance provided by the federal government as if it were his own personal piggy bank. Unfortunately, California, you won't have any money this week. I'm sorry about that. You have committed an error in judgment. Am I able to do that? As if he were the patriarch of the nation, he decides what to eat for dinner based on who cleaned their room. Jimmy Kimmel did not hold back when he found out about this nonsense, and he did not mince words. His statement was that Trump was using disaster relief as a bargaining chip, and he referred to this action. According to Kimmel, it's like Trump's playing The Price is Right with people's homes. Kimmel made this statement. Is it impossible for you to see it? When it comes to being decent to people, how much does it cost? That was a bit too low, I'm sorry. The situation, however, improves. In light of the fact that firefighters are putting their lives in danger, what is Donnie Diapers worried about specifically? Water policy. When Rome is on fire, it is a complete and utter waste of time to interfere. Given that people's homes are being turned into charcoal, I suppose it makes perfect sense to talk about fish protection in the world that Trump has created. As a result of the entire situation, experts are feeling extremely angry. In the same way that it is unethical to use a puppy as a football, they argue that it is also unethical to use disaster relief organization as leverage. Not only is it incorrect, but it is also completely messed up overall. And what about the governor of California? It would be an understatement to say that they will not be presenting any friendship bracelets to Trump in the near future. They have become infuriated as a result of Trump's treatment of disaster relief as if it were optional, paralleling his treatment of facts. It was Kimmel who was absolutely correct when he pointed out how ridiculous this whole situation is. He continued by saying that we have to sit around with the place on fire hoping he gives us our own money back. It is almost as if Trump is demanding a ransom in exchange for the resources of California. Give me what I want or you'll never see your disaster relief again. It is time to start the dramatic music and the mustache that is twirling. It would appear that California is dealing with more than just wildfires. The president of the state believes that he is playing The Price is Right when it comes to disaster relief. Even the most believing individuals would find our comedian-in-chief's theories to be humorous. While the Golden State is battling fires that have the potential to consume 10,000 acres of land in a shorter amount of time than it takes Trump to tweet. However, Jimmy Kimmel, who is the true protagonist of this story, should not be overlooked. The burns that Trump has sustained require some aloe vera, and he has been serving roasts that are even hotter than the wildfires that have been raging in California. The Hugh elephant in the room, or perhaps this should be referred to as the enormous fire, is something that Kimmel is not afraid to call out. In the event that a catastrophe occurs in the future, perhaps we ought to contact the Kardashian members rather than the White House. At least they are aware of how to deal with things when they are on fire, in contrast to our current administration, which appears to be more concerned with stoking the fires than putting them out. Remember, people, that even Mother Nature needs to pay-per-view in order to maintain even the most fundamental level of decency in Trump's America.